Hi, I'm the director for our New Zealand registered not-for-profit charitable trust called Common Knowledge. And our trust proudly holds all of the skills that hundreds of fathers and mothers developed in the early 1970s, and they developed birth and birth coaching skills. As I've said in previous videos, we first focused on just skills to cope and manage with the natural occurring pain of labor contractions. Because back in 1970, when I first gave birth, the cesarean rate was 4.5%. That did not mean that everybody had wonderful births. It meant that all of us labored, whether we labored for hours or days, whether we coped or suffered, whether we had a good outcome or a tragedy. And it was in the 1980s when things really began to change. We began to wear bikinis and demanded that we not be left with an ugly scar, so the doctors came up with a bikini cut. That made it safer for us to have a Vbac, so that the potential for uterine rupture was hugely reduced. Our partners could be with us because we could be awake for a cesarean, and we discovered something else. And that is that all of the risks that we had labored with, the twins, the breaches, all the other risks that had been normal, natural, physiological, and accepted in 1970 and for eons before that, we as modern women were saying, I don't want to put my baby at risk. And so we were opting for more cesareans or accepting a doctor's recommendation to have a cesarean if we felt that we put our baby at risk. However, there was another factor that we discovered really quickly, not because we were wizards, but because we were experiencing it. Even those of us who had great birth and birth coaching skills, many of us still had long first and second stages. And those began to attract the interest of the medical profession that could have done nothing about it beforehand. And now they had a safe way to be able to help us just end the suffering by doing a cesarean. So this course is about coaching for Vbac. These skills were developed primarily by fathers because when we realized that we were more likely to have more medical intervention in a cesarean if we had a long labor, then fathers were the ones who said, hey, look, there's a big object in a container. We can't change the shape of the object, so let's create more space in the container. Sounded good. Could we do it? Yes, we could, and we have. And so our Vbac, successful Vbac course is the primary skills course. And this course supplements that. So this course is not going to give you all the skills that are in the primary Vbac course. It's a supplement to talk to people who are going to be Vbac coaches. There are many, many more women having cesareans, many, many more women who want to have a Vbac. But if they had a cesarean because of a long first or second stage, that might still occur because they've not changed the dynamic of their container. We have the ability within our woman's body to create space and softness and mobility if we know how. If we don't know how, we don't know. And what we don't know, we're not looking for. So birthing better skills are very unique in the skills-based childbirth approaches because we primarily focus on preparing our pregnant body so that our baby can open our cervix, then come down through a bony tube called our pelvis, or bony pelvis, and then come down and out and through the soft tissue of our vagina that we've also prepared. We have a grapefruit size coming out of our body for all of you who are birth coaching us, and it makes common sense to make certain that the container can let out such a big object. Birth is an exercise in plumbing, as Birthing Better Dads would like to say. It's a big object that has to open up a container, come down through and out. So our job as a birth coach is to prepare the container to open up. And we do that starting at 24 weeks of pregnancy if we're seeking a Vbac. And if you're now 42 weeks, just rush through the bloody course. Any skill's better than none. And none of this is rocket science. It's our body, our shared human body. We all blink, we all cough, and can tighten up our rectum, which means we can all create space in our body if an object were coming down through and out it. So as a birth coach, first ask your partner to do all the body skills on you, because once you feel how your body opens, you'll know what to do with her body. Then at 32 weeks, so you're going to start that as close to 24 weeks as possible, do a little at a time, doesn't have to be every day. If you're confident that the woman can open up easily with a hip lift or the sacral maneuver or the sit bone spread, you don't have to practice it. You have the skills and you'll know you use them during the VBAC. Then at 32 weeks, 5 minutes a day, that's not a long time, do the internal work. The audio teaches you how to do it on her first and then how she can do it on herself. 80% of others, dads or others, do the internal work on the woman because we are on that end of the woman and we can tell whether or not we have softened that tissue up or it's tight. Why do you think that doctors use forceps and episiotomies? Because they're seeing how tight women are. And nobody is telling women that they need to do deep vaginal massage in all of the muscles and tissue inside their vagina that has to let this big grapefruit-sized object pass through. And then you also want to learn the birth and birth coaching skills. 99.99% of all cesareans are done during the labor part. So if a woman isn't coping with the natural occurring pain of labor, she's more likely to have more medical interventions. And if you want to have a VBAC, then you really need to make certain that she copes and handles and works through the contractions. And she expects you to do that. Now, what's our experience with VBACs that have risks? And it's very simple. Most doctors don't care whether we have skills or not, but we always give our doctors and our midwives a skills-based birth plan. We tell them exactly what skills we've learned, whether they have an interest or not, and then we use our skills. And what they see is a woman and other person, the birth coach, working well together. When a woman works well together and with the birth coach, and when she handles the naturally normal and physiological pain of labor contractions, even if she has multiple high risks, if the baby looks fine on the assessments and the monitoring, every single doctor and midwife has let that birth continue, without exception. 99% of the interference that come in birth come because the women are not coping. We do not have a skilled birthing population, and that's what Birthing Better Families wants you to know. We need to grow a skilled birthing population, and if you're going to be a VBAC coach, it's essential that you become a skilled VBAC coach. It pays off in the long run. We also committed to the fact that we get pregnant to have a baby, not a type of birth. And for those of us who could labor but ended up with a cesarean, we just continued to use the skills when we were being prepped and during the surgery. This is our baby's birth. For all of us who wanted a VBAC and ended up with a non-laboring cesarean, we thrilled at being able to prepare our body anyway. We committed to using the skills on the way to the hospital while being prepped and in surgery. So being a VBAC coach means you are helping the baby's mother to work through the activity of birthing this child. And that's what we should do. Now, there are a lot of people over 50 years who have said, I don't have time, I'm busy. And this is what our trust responds to them. Are you going to have time when your baby's born? To which everybody goes, of course we are. And this is what our trust responds. Your baby's here now. It's as simple as that. If you care about your baby, and if you expect to parent your baby, then parent it now. And learning skills now to bring forth that baby out of your body is one of the set of skills that you need. So please consider getting the Successful VBAC course along with this course and work together, because we are absolutely committed as a charitable trust that we have safe and positive VBAC experiences, and even those experiences that end up with another cesarean. We want birth to become something that we do as skilled people, because it's one-off, it's infrequent, it's life-transforming, and we can't replay it. So therefore, become skilled to do this amazing activity of birthing your baby.